Okay, so it's 7:05. I think it would be unfair if you don't start after 5 minutes, and because we have to close sharp at 8, that is the time that we have requested from the panelist and also set the expression to each one of you. So let me start by welcoming you and saying you a very good evening, good morning, good afternoon if you are in a different time zone. Welcome to the Credentialing Clinic, an initiative from the ICF Bangalore Charter Chapter. I'm your host today. I'm Raj Kumar Sahu. You can call me Raj. I'm the Director Credentialing for the ICF Bangalore Chapter. And I'm happy and honored to have uh, coaches from the ICF Bangalore Chapter who have recently got credentialed. Um, and they're here to primarily share their real journeys, honest insights, which is going to not only get benefit each one of us, but also motivate or inspire us to reach the milestone if that is something which is in front of us. We have Coach Ajit, Coach Devasis, we have Coach Vinod. So Coach Ajit, Devasis, Vinod, they have got their ACC exam cleared recently. And we have Coach Gopal and Coach Priya. They have cleared their PCC credential recently. And finally, our master certified coach, Coach Thiru. Okay. First of all, a big congratulations to each one of you for achieving this great milestone. I know the community, the people out here, we all understand the importance of this credential exam, the credentials, and how easy it is, right? How easy it is to get it. Um, Before we start, let me also share the session format. We will be having 30 minutes roughly a discussion, a panel discussion. I'll be asking some questions to the panelist, followed by a Q&A. And I would like each one of you to share your or ask your queries, whatever you have with respect to the credential. And I know we have limited time, but let's see what best we can do. Keep your questions tight with you and you shoot out when I tell you once the initial conversation is over. Are we all set? Yeah? Okay. So let me start with the first question and invite Coach Debasis. See, this ACC exam or the ACC credential exam has now become ACC exam effective 14th March this year. And I'm sure you would have started your journey much prior to that. We would like to know how this ACC exam is different from the credential exam. Coach Devasis.
So actually, thank you. It's an important question for people who are taking the ACC exam. And I actually started, preparing myself from the older version. But they are different in many ways, and I'll quickly list them out to you. One is, the earlier exam, which is still part of the PCC exam, I believe, is very situation based. So they describe a situation in a paragraph, and then they will ask you multiple choice questions about what is the best alternative and what is the worst alternative. The current or the new ACC exam is more about knowledge. So it is not a situation based exam so much, but more of a knowledge based exam. It's a one-line question with multiple choices. There is no best and worst, but it's still multiple choice. But the question itself is a one-line question, one sentence question, not a situation, a paragraph situation. Very broadly speaking, there's a difference between the two kinds of questions. But it's important for one to know that this is very knowledge based, the new exam, as opposed to a situation and applying, competences and ethics to it.
So, if I have to ask you, because you have at least aware of the new or the credential exam, relatively, is it easier? It has become easier or tougher than the credential exam?
In some, it's a difficult question to answer. In some ways, it is easier. One of the things that I felt, and most people who've taken the exam, the new version exam, feel is that time is not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's a lot of time. I found when I was mistakenly preparing for the earlier version, I used
Mm-hmm.
to find the situation base quite good. It was also kind of interesting to me. But this is hardcore knowledge-based exam. It's very, very knowledge-based. So yeah, you really have to learn the competencies by heart. It's find a way of doing that, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because time is not an issue, so maybe in some way or the other, it is not that difficult.
Okay. Thanks, Coach Devasis. Now I move to Coach Ajit. Uh, Ajit, like you would have used or referred to multiple support systems like mentor coaching, supervision, or any peer support, or resources like mock exams, some content. Uh, what do you think? Like, which one was the most important that helped you clearing the SSC exam?
And I would say, Raj, I mean, so it's a very scientifically driven approach, so the whole credentialing process is so scientifically designed, it has four key components. It starts with the training, and then it actually moves to a bit of, experiential coaching, and then not actually bit, it's close to 100 hours. And if you do peer coaching, it is more than 100 hours. Then the third piece is video recording, and finally there's an exam, right? And through the process, I think there are key components that really help you. First and foremost, training builds that foundation in you. Frankly speaking, when I started this journey, I knew nothing about coaching. I actually confused it with mentoring, right? I slowly and slowly got hang of it, and those training hours helped me.
Mm-hmm.
Then the best part was the peer circle, because peer circle was, I made friends, I practiced, I experimented, I did all the mistakes that I could do during that journey. And that was full of experiences and learning, right? And finally, video recording. The last piece of mentor coach was really, really meaningful intervention, because it actually helps you to mold your coaching style, get that critical feedback. So I think all were important
Mm-hmm.
in their own right. So the whole journey spanned around 8 to 9 months, and I wouldn't single out anything. So all of these were really, really important.
Okay. Thanks for being politically correct. Okay. But again, yes, going by the way it has been designed, I think each and every element from the uh, credential design exam point of view, it's everything is important. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your views. Moving to Coach Vinod. Um, we all have options to take these exams from uh, either home or a Pearson View Test Center. So where did you took this credential exam, and what parameters you used to identify whether you should use home or the Pearson Test Center?
On a lighter note, both of my sons have experience of going to Pearson.
Uh-huh.
They wrote their exams for GRE.
Uh-huh.
And I had the experience of knowing where to find it and going and dropping them. So I
Mhm.
was very confident that I can go to Pearson. But more relevant to the conversation, I think um, a proctored exam is comparatively difficult. You've not, we were students during COVID, so we haven't seen it.
Mhm.
But it requires to make sure that your environment is very clean, you have very good internet and so forth, and you don't want extraneous sources coming in between your exam. So I preferred going to Pearson's for that reason, that I just wanted to make sure I have peace of mind that connectivity and access will not be an issue. And like I said, the fact being that I had a little bit of knowing where these centers are and how does one go about it kind of helped. But core is peace of mind. I was actually in the US for a month for various reasons, my personal trip. I had contemplated doing it from there, thinking internet is good enough. I can probably do it. I'm in family members' homes, but I still chose that let me come back. Familiarity of territory, city, being in the place that you likely know, and going to a place where you can be sure the infrastructure works. Those were things that I used as my confidence boosters.
Okay, thanks. And I think that two words you said, right? Peace of mind. I think when you are trying to give an exam, and which is so critical, so important, and so tough, you would want to have less noise or less disturbance while focusing on that exam. I think a very important point. Moving to our PCC coaches. Okay, so Priya, you first did the ACC and then went to PCC.
Yep.
And many of us would have and I know Gopal has directly attempted the PCC because you have seen both the exams or both the credential exams and you are now PCC certified. What would be your recommendation to the aspiring coaches or coaches who are yet to get into this credential journey? What should they attempt? Should they go step by step, first take ACC and then move to PCC, or go directly to PCC? Because now that you have seen the second world as
So
well.
I'm going to take a step back to the question. When I was preparing, I didn't even know that was an option. You could go directly to PCC. So by default, I went into ACC, but I'm happy I did. Couple of reasons in hindsight. I think the rigor prepares you to understand what ICF is. It makes you understand when you say the golden standard for coaching, the gold standard for coaching, it is so true. Second is when you get a thappa or a stamp of ACC, you get more credibility. So organizations, people would trust you more and the opportunities open far more. The marketplace opens for you. Thirdly, I think what happens is that you are now becoming more confident because you've passed one hurdle or one measure of success, so achievement for you. And I think the fourth thing is that you become a part of cohorts like this, which is the ICF Global, the local chapters, and you create a lovely bond, understanding more learning opportunities from each other. So I think it's wonderful that you start with ACC and then go on to PCC.
Okay. Thanks, Priya, for sharing. Gopal, I have a follow-up question from what Priya said. After hearing Priya, if you have to time travel back, would have done ACC first and PCC, or you'd still be in the same decision what you took?
I did my PCC direct, and the decision was made 7 years ago that I will do PCC direct and not ACC and then PCC, because that's what one of my mentors told me. And I was all continuing to go through that journey, thinking that everything is great. I got this, I would be able to clear this off really well. But in hindsight, if you really ask me if anything would look different today, maybe perhaps. Um, but the design still allows you to do direct PCC. So um, I took that path which was made available to me. The preparation, of course, would have been very different had I gone through ACC first and then PCC. But I think ICF has its own beautiful way of rewarding the rigor, which meant that it wasn't easy to be able to get the PCC. And Debashish, another coach friend of ours, Anuj Shedda, and I spent enough time over the last, I think we all cleared almost a week apart. And we spent almost 2.5, 3 months debating what's the best way to study for it. And I think it was a collective group study for sure.
Yeah, good. Thanks for saying that. So I continue with my next question to you, Coach Gopal. See, from my experience, and I'm sure like it is also true for many of us, the biggest challenge in a credential journey is to get the coaching experience. So ACC expects 100 plus hours, PCC 1500, and 2500 for MCC hours. So uh, while peer coaching is one way like which most of us use, but what are the other different innovative approaches, or what are your what did you do to gather these hours apart from the peer coaching?
No. Um, Luckily for me, I had been part of a coach program as part of the organization that I used to work for.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was an internal coach, I got a lot of coaching hours taken care of there itself. So I would say that played a huge role in me being able to finish off a bulk of my coaching hours even before I moved on. And then, so I was somewhere around 300 hours even when I was in that role. The next 200 hours, which is you need 500 hours for PCC, is what took longer because I had to then fetch clients who would pay me a consideration or do a barter or a peer coaching, as you say. And that took a longer time. But today, I think thanks to technology, there are a lot of avenues like TopMate and many other, even LinkedIn for that matter, has allowed you options to list your services on a premium account. And I know for a fact that there are a lot of other coaches who are in the similar journey, have benefited a lot through platforms like these, and have been able to accelerate their number of hours coaching done pretty quickly. Um, the call out or watch out I would say is just ensure that you are still doing justice to the markers. Just ensure that you're still doing justice to the whole coaching conversation through that process, because in the rush to get the 500 hours done, you may end up not doing justice to those coaching conversations.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
If I may add, what really helped me, I was struggling because I was not an internal coach. So for me, what worked was going to universities and colleges. In the last 100 hours, really came from there. It was a bunch of students, and with like he said correctly, with the authenticity and the earnestness of really enabling the college kids there. I think, and that was a very beautiful journey. It opened up a lot of stuff for me per se. But I think I got my last 100 hours from there. So yeah, that's another avenue.
Thanks for sharing this. Maybe Coach Ajit, you just want to share like any additional avenues? You are on mute.
My apologies, Raj.
Yeah.
So, similar experiences. Interestingly, I also gained hours through one of the mentoring programs where I was a mentor in a university in
Mm-hmm.
Bangalore. However, my maximum number of hours came from peer, coaches. But at the same time, since I actually held large roles where there were a lot of large teams, right? So I automatically got about 10 to 15 additional clients even before I got ICF. So that
Mm-hmm.
also really helped me in my journey to get those hours. But it was not a Herculean task as 500 hours. It was just about 120, 120, 30 hours. Yeah.
Now we should ask this question to the person who was really Hercules, right? So, Coach Thiru, 2500 hours, not an easy task, right? Yeah, deserves a clap. Yeah. So, any recommendation, any avenues that you want to share to people who are here, where to look for this coaching hours?
Well, the recommendation is to just follow the guidelines and look for real clients.
Mm.
I don't think there is any shortcut method for this.
Mm-hmm.
And as our fellow coaches said here, you can use some of these other avenues just to top it up, maybe the last 50, 100, whatever. But the real experience has to come from coaching real clients, not even the peers, because the expectation at every level from ACC to PCC to MCC as we are going, the mastery of coaching comes only by engaging with real clients.
Correct.
It's not just by, logging in an hour and then, somehow, tick a box here or there. So that is expectation, and that is what we are all being, kind of awarded with the recognition by ICF. So I didn't I think Ajit said, I have a very long corporate career behind me, 30 plus years. So thousands of people, and I have 4,500 or so in my LinkedIn. So I reached out to many of them, and so that was one. And obviously, not all of them came forward. Some of them came forward, but the real one which really helped me was some of those who worked under me, or they're all now heading companies, and they said, "Okay, I invite you to come and then coach my team." But then obviously, they have to pay. So we made some arrangement and then contracts in place, and then I got to one, two, three, four, three or four companies likewise, and each company employs hundreds of people. So that was a good one for me. Plus, also, it has taken almost 9 years for me now. It's not like it happened overnight, right? So I've been coaching from 2014 onwards, in between, gap of a year and a half or so when I was away in the US. So it has taken a little, longer time, but that's the time that it takes in order to do this, because we are gaining that experience. That 500 or 500 or 2,500 is the experience that we are gaining. That's what ICF is expecting. That is one of the parameters. So we can't short circuit that anywhere.
Correct.
And as Priya said, I also did for some business schools in Bangalore. One through ICF Bangalore itself, and two of them on my own directly for MBA students, career counseling, coaching, those kind of things. And then again, got the head of department to issue a letter, all those, in order to make sure it's a client kind of engagement. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach Thiru. And I'm sure there is no shortcut to getting this coaching hours.
No.
And yeah, you are right. Even from my experience, see, while we can always put a tick mark having this coaching with peer coaches, but we all know when we get into those kind of coaching conversation, the peer coaches know what question is coming up, why this question is coming up, and the learning is there. But as Coach Ajit said, right, all the mistakes I could do, I think Coach Ajit said, right. So that's a playground for us to experiment certain things. So everything has its own advantages and disadvantages, and that real experience comes from real client conversation. Thank you for sharing that. Now, while there are no shortcut to that, maybe a shortcut to get an MCC. What is the faster route to get an MCC? So we have. So
well, there is a faster route, which is learn by heart everything about the ethics and core competencies, and then keep applying them as many hours as possible in every given day.
Yeah.
But I was reading this MCC candidate guide, which I haven't read recently, but for, in preparation for our session today. And in the first, somewhere in the first page or so, it says this MCC is someone who is at a master level of coaching, where where they are considering, he or she is considering coaching as the prime career option for them, professional career option for them. So it's not like something which we are trying to do on the sidelines, when we are doing something else type, So that is expectation from ICF themselves, and which is what will take us to, that is a shortcut, once we focus, once we say, okay, this is what I'm going to be. And then things, kind of, fall in line for us. And then we find out as to where the, clients are there, where the peer coach is there, where the mentors are there, etc. But it will still take time, because we cannot fool the system by saying, okay, I did 200 hours this month. It's not physically possible, right? So we have to go through that, and it will take its time.
And how do you see this level 3 certification approach or a portfolio route? Which one is better or faster?
I I went through the portfolio route,
Mm-hmm.
but like you were asking about to Gopal about going straight to PCC versus ACC and PCC. If I look back, I think level 3 is a better option
Mm-hmm.
because level 3 is it provides you a complete education.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, portfolio route is bits and pieces. I went all over the place, and then obviously you can keep collecting number of training hours, which
Mm-hmm.
ICF has approved certain schools to provide. But then what happens is you lose that continuity of what you have learned from ACC to PC to level, like a level 1 to level 2 to level 3 program. And that is when mentoring becomes difficult. The mentor that I had was really, I mean, he was finding it very difficult for him to, communicate with me because I did go through a level 3 program before,
Mm-hmm.
but then it took some time for him and for me, and then kind of we aligned ourselves. So the other thing is then you don't need a separate mentor if you do a level 3, because level
Mm-hmm.
3 program itself, whatever cost that you are engaging, that itself is taken care of. Outside of those, everything else is same because we still need to submit two recordings for evaluation, and the exam is there. That is all the same, even for level 3
Uh-huh.
and portfolio room.
Okay. So, while I switch my gears and go a little deeper inside you, asking more personal questions, there is one question from Amy, more towards the credential, which is more credential specific. Uh, uh, have a question to the PCC, MCG coaches. How does ICF verify the coaching hours declared? So, anyone who wants to take this one up? How does the coaching hours are verified?
Okay, so as we are into this profession, we are holding the highest standards of ICF's values and ethics. So to start with, ICF does not expect any one of us to be untruthful. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm really proud of that fact because they are not necessarily saying, okay, submit everything, every record, every they are, trusting us. But they do have the option to audit at random. They can
Mm-hmm.
pick on any one of the coaches who have applied, and then they will ask them to submit the logs that we are supposedly maintaining. All of us are maintaining, right? So I have for more than 3,200 now. I'm still logging in. And if that happens, if the audit happens, and then if ICF does not get proper response, then there is a little trouble for the for the coach. So to start with, I don't think this is a concern for anyone who has already been into this road, because we are here, we are holding the highest ethics, and then we are creating value for our clients, and so we are not going to be thinking in this manner, right?
Okay.
Raj.
Yeah, thank you, Coach Thiru. So hope Amy, you got some insight. Moving to the next round, which I say like it is more deep, moving more like exploring more inside you. I'll start with Coach Devasis. What are the most surprising and unexpected part uh, of your ACC journey?
Um, I think it's this whole and even Ajit was mentioning this. This is the almost like an introduction to coaching, right? It's not that we have any experience before we get into the ACC exercise, and just this whole thing about getting clients uh, is a very very new kind of an experience to have. All these questions that we just tried to answer about how do you get clients, even when you're facing 100 as opposed to 500, it looks like a very daunting task to get a 100 conversations going, right?
Mm,
Of which a substantial part has to be paid in whatever form or shape. So that I think is one of the surprises that you get into. Um, One of the pleasant surprises is the whole experience that, at least for me, was the whole training process that I went through. Um, and obviously, it's a different kind of, like many of us, we've had the experience of working in organizations, in my case, a corporate organization before I got into this. And this is a bit of a different world, right? And that is a very, very pleasant and surprise, if I have to call it a surprise. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Moving to Coach Vinod. Um, Again, what support system, uh, let it be a community or some peers, mentor, coach, mattered you most in your journey, and why?
So true to our profession, one needs to have a coach and mentor in every journey. And that matters to me. So I did reach out to the first person who inspired me to move into or to hone my skills on people development and therefore reach this path where I am now a coach. So I reached out to her, and she was quite helpful in giving me a sense of what I must be thinking of. And then she put me on to another gentleman who went on to become my coach and mentor. So that is one support system. You get a lot of guidance in terms of how you should think through your journey. More important, like many of my fellow coaches said, 100 hours can be daunting. 500 in its own way will be daunting for sure, and 2,500 definitely. So how do you get there? What do you do? How do you get clients? Peer coaching is fine, but getting real clients is important. And lastly, getting into coaching communities, right? So I actually signed up and became ICF Bangalore Friends member, which is a great opportunity that ICF Bangalore chapter allows. And that gave me access to, a lot of conversations, a lot of inputs that were coming in from there. I'm actually part of 4 different communities at this point, my own learning institute, ICF Bangalore, and then a couple of others. This also gave me access to be able to reach out and meet a few different people for peer coaching. So communities, being a part of communities was helpful. I've gone and joined a few coffee meetups, learned from people's experiences. I think all of these were definitely useful.
Thanks. And rightly said, like everyone needs a coach, right? And first, the coach needs a coach. So true. So true. Uh, Going back to Coach Ajit, looking back, what advice from your learnings and mistakes would you give to someone who is starting their credential journey? You're on mute again.
Oh gosh, my
Yeah,
sorry, my apologies.
no
So,
problem.
what I was, I wonder when I started this journey, I thought it would be like, I can become a coach in 3 to 4 months, right? And my mentor and the training company kept on saying that, hey, it'll happen, So I'm like by nature a bit impatient. Uh, Eventually, it took me 10 months, right? And if you were to ask me, would I go back and change this to 3 to 4 months? I wouldn't. Most of the fellow, panelists have actually expressed the same view. This process may look daunting, and it is, but at the same time, it is very fruitful and it's very enjoyable, right? So if you take it in the right spirit. So I think the key learnings were start early, keep logging hours, practice. That's very, very important. Record few of these sessions and observe, review your coaching styles. That's also very important. Most importantly, I think it's about not taking this as a journey of getting credentialed or certified, rather than looking at it as your growth journey, right? So that's what I actually felt was the most exhilarating part.
Perfect. So take this as a growth journey. The last 2 words just stuck to me. Take this as a growth journey. Very nicely said. Thanks, Coach Ajit. Moving to Coach Gopal. Um, Again, a very similar question, but in a different way. What is the most challenging part of your credential journey, and what helped you? Most importantly, what helped you to overcome that?
Oh, for me, it was a career transition that kind of took me away from being able to practice coaching as much as I would have wanted. Um, and that led me into a downward spiral of self-doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I even want to become a coach?
Mm-hmm.
And it was very hard, and I had to really pull myself back up, only through a lot of conversations that I had with one of my mentors. And he said, why are you giving up on your dream? Why are you giving up on the thought that you had few years ago? Circumstances may be the way it is, but it should not really let you lose focus. And I think that conversation definitely helped me to pull myself back. I re-enrolled myself into the coaching. I think by then, so one of the things also had happened was the L1, L2 happened
Mm-hmm.
only around 2021, 2022, and my coaching journey started in 2017. So a lot of it had changed. So I had to redo my learning and then get back to practicing as well. So I would say, yeah, it wasn't easy, but it was worth spending the time on uh, learning skills again and putting that to use.
Definitely, definitely. Priya, again, connected but an extension. What are some of the essential practices or must do to keep in mind while applying for the higher credentials? So you upgraded from ACC to PCC.
So, I'm going to be honest here. The journey was arduous for me. It was tough. I didn't clear my PCC at the first time. It was a second attempt.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a lot out of me. So, from getting the hours and all was fine. But when you actually get on to saying, okay, this is the last bit because your credential is going to get over and you have to reapply, and I don't want to be an ACC, I want to become a PCC, you then start, um, I think, embodying the essence of coaching even more. And
Mm-hmm.
what I realized was that maybe I was not embodying true to what the competencies and the code of ethics said, to
Mm.
100% during the coaching. And so when I didn't clear, first my recording didn't clear, and that was a shock for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I resent the recording. It was applied and all of that, and then it went through the same recording. And then when I didn't clear the exam, it was a second hurdle. I was like, no, oh my God, am I even supposed to do this or not supposed to do this? And so it was a self doubt, like Gopal said. But then I have a very good mentor, and I still have him, Shrikant. And he said, you are not giving this up because it's my duty to get you there. And I
Mm-hmm.
think he was like the guiding light. And he helped me through the nuances of those competencies. If you don't understand the nuances of the competencies, you will not be able to give that 4-hour exam. Every question is nuanced. And you truly have to embody the core competencies when you're coaching. And so I think that's what helped me. And so I'm more proud now to say I'm a PCC coach than when I applied for the first time. And I'm being honest and true to the spirit of coaching when I now am a PCC coach. So I think that's
Wonderful said.
honest and really authentic from my side. It took a lot of resilience, perseverance, hard work, crying, howling, and a mentor who said, I'm not leaving you, and a community which supported. So, yeah.
First of all, Priya,
Those.
I appreciate you being so candid in your response. So thank you so much for sharing very honestly the response. And I think each one of us, we should give a round of applause to our mentors, coaches,
Sure.
guides,
Totally.
who have actually helped us reach here where we have reached today. I
Totally.
think they all deserve a round of applause. Okay.
Can I add
Gopal, you.
something to?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Um, I like what Priya said about embodying, right? And are you a coach or not? I think one of the doubts that I had with her was, am I coaching or am I being a coach?
Mhm.
And there is a difference between that, right? Because typically when you're coaching, you kind of are, and in the context of the conversations that we have typically in a corporate world, you end up mentoring as well, right? And it was very hard for me to be able to embody the coaching mindset. So one of the things that Priya mentioned was, again, the questions are nuanced. I
Mhm.
would also add that they were layered too,
Mm.
because you would not know which. I mean, And in all honesty and transparency, I couldn't clear PCC exam for 2 times. I cleared it the third attempt, and it was heartbreaking. And one of the reflections after I failed at the first, I got 451 out of 460. I was like, it's just 9 marks. I'm gonna clear it the next one. I got even lower then,
Mhm.
only to realize that maybe I was not really doing the way it should be done, and only to figure out that keep the coachee always at the center of every decision that you're making or everything that you're doing for the coach. So being the coach come came very hard to me, and I come from deep consulting experience, so that made it harder.
Thanks again. Hearing both of your stories, and I think there will be many such stories like where, including me, who have also not cleared the credential exam in the very first time. Okay, so it definitely gives a message to each one of us that how important it is to prepare for it, embodies the coaching mindset within us. Um, so I think people listening um, should take it more as a inspiration, motivation, and do the right thing from the learnings or the mistakes that we all have done, and get the take the advantage. Before I open up the questions, queries to the audience, my last question to Coach Thiru: what advice would you give to coaches who aspire to reach MCC someday? So at least there are three PCCs here in the panelist and host. Okay, and there would be some on the audience as well.
Sure, sure, definitely. And all the best to them. And there is nothing special that we need to do to reach MCC over and above what you are already doing at PCC, because as they're all currently explaining, if you're already embodying the coaching mindset, that will take you there. We just need to keep practicing.
Mhm.
The practice makes it perfect.
Mhm.
And this number of hours of 2,500, etc., has been designed for a reason. That
Mhm.
mastery comes, automatically. And by the time, whether you have a MCC credential or not, you are already at a master level. This is what my mentor used to tell me, that you are already coaching at a master level, etc. In the sense, what happens is we are kind of completely unconsciously competent as a
Mhm.
coach at that level. So you don't need to be any more thinking and just leave the client to think. And you just be there, provide the, comfort and presence, and then things move on. And we no longer start thinking, what next question I should be asking, etc. I mean, which we all, do over a period of time, but then you get rid of all of those by the time you reach there. The answer to your question is you don't need to do anything extra or something. You just need to keep practicing it. And the minimum skills requirement for MCC have been kind of little tweaked from the PCC level. And then there is also a set of bars that have been identified. There are only 24 bars that they look at to qualify against the 34 or so the markers that we had at PCC level. And nowhere in the 24 bars you will see ICF expecting the coach to be thinking for the client. ICF expecting the coach to be finding any solution or setting the direction or anything for the client. Everything will be about the client and not even about the topic. In the
Mhm.
24 bars, there is no bar which asks whether we are discussing about the topic, because it's all left to him. I mean, they can bring whatever he or she, and we just need, be there, and then things happen, likewise. So there is nothing special that is needed, but obviously we should complete the level 3 education, or if one is wanting to be on their own, make
Mhm.
sure memorize this 16 pages of MCC skills document and 4 or 5 pages of bars document, and then go through the difficult route of practicing them. But level 3 makes it perfect, because obviously you are doing in a controlled environment. There are other coaches you can practice with, etc. Likewise, Raj.
Thanks, thanks, Thiru. I think keeping it simple, just go with the flow,
Absolutely.
and keep practicing. I think
That is absolutely essential, because some of let me just take 30 seconds. Few people who reached out to me after I announced my MCC, they're saying, okay, quickly tell me, I want to get rid of this, off my pact. And I said, no, you're talking to the wrong person, and this is not the way to do. You have to necessarily practice. There is no shortcut to this.
Thank you. Thank you all for your honest and candid responses. Now I open the forum to the audience. If you have a question, I think we have less people, so you can just unmute, start asking the question, or raise your hand if I want. I can monitor and I ask.
Hi, this is Sarla here.
Yeah, go ahead.
On the ACC, you said that, it has become very knowledge-based now. So, I mean, just a disclaimer, I haven't even gone and seen the ICF website, okay? So just wanted to ask, like, when you say knowledge-based, is it's about knowing the nuances of the competencies?
Yeah, so I'll just take that because I'd mentioned that. Yes, you're right, Sarla. You have to know the competencies, you have to know the ethics. You really have to know, and you'll be asked direct questions on them. That's the way the ACC exams are today. That's why I call them knowledge-based. It's not application-based so much, sorry, but it's more knowledge-based.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone? Person who speaks first continues.
While they come back with question, I just wanted to add to the knowledge base.
Yeah,
In
please,
one of
go
the
ahead.
practice exams that I wrote, it said, when was ICF founded? And just to give an example of competence and knowledge base, the question says, it gives a statement and then asks which competency does this form a part of. So you have 8 or 10 descriptive sentences for what constitutes a particular competency, and something similar to that is provided to you. And then you have to be able to say which competency is this a part of. So that is the kind of knowledge-based question building on what Debushi said.
Thanks, Coach Vinod, for adding. Anyone else who has a question?
One of the things that people keep saying that, obviously there's a difference between coaching and mentoring. But when you're doing real live coaching, and just to share, I retired as the executive vice president, supply chain in Colgate last year. Okay. I think people are also coming to you for really getting a mix of coaching and mentoring. So I sometimes get a little, not clear about that, because I've also heard people who say that this person is a good coach because at the right time is also able to mentor and share of their experiences. So just thoughts from people.
Who wants to take this? Yeah, so let Coach Vinod.
So the ICF framework distinguishes between coaching and mentoring. You cannot be mentoring when you are being there as a coach. So it also says that if you feel the need that the client would gain with mentoring, then you need to call out, step out of the space where you are a coach, or maybe seek a separate time where you can act as a mentor and keep those spaces separate. So that's the approach. And yes, a lot of clients seek mentoring because that's the easy way of getting the answer. So the tougher thing for us as a coach is to help them on their own self-learning journey. And it is tougher for both the client and for the coach, because easier is for me to teach them and it's more difficult for me to get them to learn on their own. So I would say that we probably want both of us to go through the tough part of the journey and be a pure coach. Mentor only if necessary, stepping out and calling out that you are moving on as a mentor, and then come back to coaching space.
Thanks, Coach Vinod. And anyone else wants to add anything?
I just wanted to add, Ajit here. So, what I've experienced is that, and it's very subjective, and others may have a different view, that if there are people who are early in their profession, they typically require mentoring more than coaching. A lot of people will reach out to us, the professionals who are sort of, looking at more advice with respect to career and, points which probably are more prescriptive in nature. Um, However, you have to also evaluate the individual's, sort of, state and also readiness to get coached. Because at times the individual is not at all ready to be coached. And then you may have to take a decision that, hey, I cannot coach you, or, you need somebody as a mentor. Uh, those are the cases that have also happened. On the other side, many people are so excited to be part of coaching and they want to actually evolve themselves through their own ideas through this whole, more scientific process and more exhilarating process.
Yeah. Thank you.
If
Thank you,
I
Coach.
Thank you.
may, can I?
Yeah, please go ahead, Coach Seru.
So, as Vinod already said, ICF is not necessarily saying you should not mentor, so do it separately. Because the coaching definition of coaching is that it's a thought-provoking process in which the client gets inspired. And in order to maximize their potential in their personal and professional space. Now, if we step in and then give them ideas or handhold them or whatever, then they are not going to do that. So the whole purpose of coaching is to help them to in their own developmental journey, and because of which coach should not be mentoring under the coaching contract or under the coaching engagement. Outside of that, one of my mentor used to say, in a real life situation, like Madam Menon was saying, we are all MCC. We are all MCC because we are mentoring, we are coaching, and we are also consulting. That is how it will normally end up, but we should try to keep it separate so that they don't say that, oh, you as a coach told me, to do this. No, no, no. I as a coach, I never told you anything, right? I as a mentor or a consultant would have told you. That is the distinction we have to maintain.
Thanks, Coach Seru, for adding. And hope, Sarla, you got some good insights.
Yeah, thanks to everyone who responded.
Thank you. Anybody else? We are 3 minutes away from the scheduled close time. I don't see any questions in the chat box as well.
We want to hear from Varun, president of ICF Bangalore.
I was just reserving for the last if nobody is talking.
Yeah,
But,
please.
yeah.
Yeah,
First
please.
of all, I really want to thank and congratulations to all the coaches who recently got credentials.
Thank you.
And I was so happy because usually when we gone through sessions, I believe that might be one of the reasons people have less participation. Usually the webinars or the sessions will be more on question and answer. But I think hats off to Raj. The way I think he has put the question, I think he wears the coach's hat as a host here today. The powerful questioning, the art of powerful questioning, he has utilized it very well to get the best out of the recently credentialed coaches. And thanks to all being so authenticating and being truthful to tell them that there is no harm in failing. If you have failed multiple times, I'll say that future lies and future will say that you are the best coach because you had gone through, and unless and until you don't fail, how will you teach somebody to come out of the failure?
Correct.
So, and a lot of people used to ask that I have done the fast track courses, I have completed with so and so period, but I will always say that you need to take your time. Like Kuttiru said, that we need to keep on practicing. Don't be hurry. You are not here to, this is not a competition. Credentialing is not a competition. How short duration you have taken the credential, how you understood, because I always take this point. Everyone is asking, what is the alternative of psychology or the emotional well-being, because World Health Organization said that the future is World Mental Health Pandemic. So I think the coaches can be a lifeline. I can call it as a first aid, to give the first aid to the well-being. And unless and until you are not gone through all the parameters what ICF is rigorously asking us to work on, because you are transforming yourself, because everyone, most of them will be ex corporates or the senior persons. We are used to a consulting mode and a mentoring mode, so it's not so easy to change the characteristics of the thought process in a sudden stages within a day or 2 months. But if the people are starting with 1 year, it's really appreciated, but it will take time, all those things to transform you. So that is what I'm trying last 12 years with ICF. Still trying to transform, ready to learn. I always say that I am here to unlearn, to learn. Today also, I forgot everything. I forgot that I'm the president of ICF Bangalore chapter. I forgot that I'm a BCC. I just completed my MCC training. I'm still waiting. So I said, I am here as a student. I unlearned. I'm a big zero today. I want to learn from the recently credentialed coaches. But thank you so much for being authentic, being vulnerable. And I think these recordings will help our chapter members, and I'm future. And thanks to Raj, we are introducing, we call it a credentialing clinic. Yes, obviously, it's Raj is acting as a doctor here to treat the people who have self-doubt. And my request to the team who is hearing this, all the chapter members or who was aspiring coaches, let India be more of MCCs. We don't want ACCs and PCCs. We want everyone should be MCCs. I am wishing one of the Bangalore chapter members meet. I'll say that, oh, all are MCCs. So I am wishing for that, so that ICF chapter members, the coaches, can transform the world to see a future, to create the future leaders. So let's hope for the best, and let's work together as a family to transform and bring up the change. Once again, thank you, all the recently credentialed coaches. Thank you, Priya. Thank you, Debashis. Thank you, Ajit. Thank you, Vinit. Thank you, Gopal. And our master coach, Thiru. Thank you so much from my side.
Thank you, Dr. Varun, for again giving us a little bit of visionary goals, so that we try to get into the MCC journey. And we are already hitting 8. Time just flew by. Personally, I also enjoyed hosting this, and I had a lot of learnings and also validation of my personal experience, as well as I heard each one of you sharing. From bottom of my heart, I want to thank each one of you for your candid response, spending time out here. I'd also like to thank ICF Bangalore chapter MC members who have supported me in arranging this, especially Director Marketing Preeti, who made all of this promotions and announcements, and Director Technology Anand, who helped me schedule this in this Zoom. And you all know Zoom, I am for the first time I'm hosting. And last but not the least, all the members who attended, thank you for spending time. I hope you got some good key learnings, takeaways, which you can apply during your credential journey. With that, thank you and have a great evening.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Raj.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Great.
Raj.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Good evening.